It is my honor to welcome on 2024 national champion, senior captain, number 2, my beautiful sister, Mallory Hasselbeck. Mallory, welcome to Respect Her Game.
Thank you. I'm fired up. I feel like I've just been your biggest fan since this has all begun. So I'm so excited to have the honor to come on.
Well, you have definitely been our biggest fan, so I appreciate you. But we want to get right to your season and what BC Lacrosse has going on right now. You guys just got back from a huge win over a good ACC team in Virginia Tech. You guys beat them 21-5. How did you guys beat such a good ACC team on the road that well?
Yeah, I think any ACC team and game really is up for grabs for anyone. And I think something we pride ourselves on here at BC is just our preparation. So our coaches prepare us well, our scout teams prepare us well, and just going against each other, being the best defenders, best attackers in the country, gives us some confidence when we show up on game day. So thankfully we got the W and can move on to Dartmouth this week.
Well, Mallory, it wasn't just a normal ACC game for you specifically. This was your first time back on the field in almost over 2 years, coming off a redshirt year and an ACL recovery. So just for you, how did that feel to get back on the turf?
Yeah, I mean, it was surreal. It was something I'll never forget, seeing my teammates. Some girls didn't even realize I was in because I ran in right after we got the draw. So it was definitely surreal and so fun. And just to have my teammates be so fired up for me was definitely a moment I'll never forget, and a long time coming, but hopefully a lot more to come.
What was that process like for you, getting ready to get prepared and just dive back in? I mean, you mentioned beforehand, BC, strong offensively, strong defensively. So sometimes there is that pressure to come in and be versatile right off the bat there. But how'd you manage getting prepared for it?
Yeah, I think what I said earlier, like practice prepares us better than games, just because our practices, especially this year, we've decided to make practice so intense where we show up to game day, and not that it's easy because it's never easy, but that we're prepared and we're ready to go, and we have confidence that our preparation prepared us for any task at hand. So yeah, definitely getting the opportunities to ease in throughout practice and get reps that way and make mistakes and learn from them definitely made stepping on the field a lot easier.
Mallory, you mentioned practice being so intense, and I know because I was on the team for 4 years, so I know the intensity that you're talking about. But for people who don't know, can you just let them into what a day or maybe just the off-season ramp-up looked like this year for Boston College women's lacrosse? Because I know when you were telling me, oh, we're doing this in preseason, we're doing this in the summer, we're doing this, and during winter break before coming back, it was even a lot more than I had even experienced the prior year. And it seems like every year BC Lacrosse has just ramped it up. So can you just explain a little bit of what really goes into the intensity during training?
Yeah, I mean, just like any college athlete training, you try to put your best foot forward every single day. And if you're going to do a workout, you might as well give it everything you have. Otherwise, we consider that a lost workout. So just pushing ourselves, and whether it was over break, staying in touch with the girls on the team, having an accountability partner, texting each other like, hey, how'd the run go today? Or, hey, like, what do you need from me? Do you need a motivational text? Do you need a pump up speech? Do you need a little hey, let's go? Like you need to step it up. So just that in the off season, then showing up this winter break, coming back from break, everyone just was ready to chase our goals. We're trying to do something that Boston College Lacrosse has never done before, win 2 back-to-back national championships. So I had that opportunity as a freshman. Annabelle had just won the national championship for freshman year. It was such a cool experience. And I got to be a part of the team that was trying to go back-to-back. And we sadly fell short by 1 goal in the national championship game that year. So just for this senior class to know what that feels like and trying to chase that this year, is definitely a driving force that drives us in everything we do, whether it's partner passing. We're not keeping our feet still. We're moving our feet, being intense with it, acting like we're making the pass in the national championship game, even if it is the first 5 minutes of practice.
Yeah, clearly those practices are paying off because, like you just said, you guys are trying to go back-to-back as national champs. But what's that like, being a part of a national championship caliber team? I mean, what was the experience from your first year to now, and knowing the capability is right there?
Yeah, I think it's such a cool experience. I mean, we watch other sports and you're like, wow, that's so cool that they're in the national championship. And I don't think it really hits you it didn't hit me till freshman year. We were at the national championship and the national anthem played, and I was like, oh my goodness, I'm playing in the national championship game. And so, thankfully our team's been fortunate to go back the last couple of years and make a run at it and win it this last year. But yeah, I think it definitely ups the ante and makes every team's game like you have a schedule and every team circles your team on the schedule. So there's no games off, there's no easy matchups because everyone's going to give you their best game. But I think the cool thing about going to BC is that every girl on our team came here because they want everyone's best game. And that's why you play in the ACC, and that's why you come to Boston College is to get everyone's best game and compete for a national championship.
Mallory, you mentioned it. You guys have a huge target on your back. And like you said, every team circles BC Lacrosse on their schedule. But that is noise, right? And so how does this 2025 team block that noise out? Because you do think about it. You do prepare the same and respect every opponent. I'm going to smile because I know that's a saying that gets thrown around in the locker room a lot. But what does that actually really look like?
Yeah, I think our coaches really preach it to us, and we end up believing it. Like it doesn't matter if we're winning by 10, we're still putting out the same BC Lacrosse product as if it's a nail biter game. So I think just having that mindset going into everything, going into practice, going into game weeks, whether it's a tournament play, whether it's a regular season game, a non-conference game, just treating it. We're not playing another team to play another team just to beat them. We're playing to seek excellence. That's kind of our theme this year is we're seeking excellence, not being perfect, but seeking excellence, trying to stay humble, hungry, and just playing together where we keep the BC product safe and we keep pushing it to the best possible way that it can become.
I like you pointing out the emphasis on excellence, and Annabelle just mentioned the fact of things that just kind of were sayings in the locker room for you guys. What's kind of something that's motivating this group right now, especially probably when it comes to those big game days, maybe for teams that you guys are circling on the calendar?
Yeah, I think something I've talked to Annabelle about a couple times is that this, when we got back from break, I kind of started something, our team started something called, we have a BC bank. And it's just this little plastic thing I got off of Amazon, put a BC logo on it. And every day, whether if it's a hard day and we worked hard and we got better, or after a big win, or after someone had an amazing practice, we put money in the bank. Because you can't get returns without deposits. And so then when we need that money in the bank, we need to reach into that bank account and, say, hey, we practiced that at practice. Or, hey, that dodge. You can beat that girl because you did this. We've been putting money in the bank, and something that we've been kind of fires the girls up. Annabelle got us some fun glasses. We played I just got paid, or bills. Everyone does a little dance. So we have fun with it. But, yeah, it's definitely something that gets the girls going.
Hey, there's that seesaw in Boston College Business School knowledge. Good job, Mallory. It's funny, when I was applying to BC, my parents said, oh, you want to do arts and sciences. You want to do arts and sciences. I said, well, all my friends are telling me I should do the business school. And then when Mallory applies, they're like, oh, Mallory, you got to do the business school. You got to do the business school. So you were definitely called to do the business school, and for this specific reason, too, so you can drop that knowledge on everyone. But Mallory, just to get a little more inside the Boston College women's lacrosse locker room, are there any fun traditions or maybe team games that you guys have really had fun with this season?
Yeah, so our team has a ton of traditions. They're just fun things we do before the game. We have the classic. We play Ship It Up to Boston, and two of our girls, Emily English and Abby Harrod, do a little dance like Ship It Up to Boston, and they do a little Irish step dance in the middle, and then everyone jumps in and does the dance with them. So that's definitely before we go out in the locker room. And then yeah, I think just our team's very energetic this year, loves to dance, loves to be silly and have fun. So we definitely have a dance party before the coaches come in, which makes it all better. And I sometimes now I get tired and I'm like, shoot, I have to play in the game. I need to save myself. I find myself sweating, not even in warm-ups, in the dance party. So I guess that you could say it's a fun pregame warm up, but yeah.
To say the least. Sounds like my kind of warm up, honestly. My family had a thing where when you're having a weird day, you put on music and do an ugly dance party. My brother hated it. The girls bought into it a little too hard. What are some of these songs for the dance party? I must know. I'm always a song person.
We have it all. There's this new song. I tried to show it to Annabelle. She didn't know. It's called Shake and Pop. It's that our team loves. We just stand in the circle and it's shake and pop, woo, and then it
girl, I know that song. My seniors when I was a freshman invented that song.
I was did you download
I'm kidding.
It?
It's all good.
No.
You brought it back. That's the right thing.
But yeah, that's definitely a fan favorite for sure.
I love that. Well, it is so fun, and you can tell just the joy that comes out of that team from the locker room. It's because of all those, close bonds you guys have within it that really carry out onto the field. But just to go back to this intensity, right? Because you guys are all fun and games, and you like to have dance parties and have fun songs, and Emily English in the middle of the circle doing the Irish step dance, right? But this team is also very serious. And so I know there's a lot of things that go on the day-to-day for BC Women's Lacrosse, but as one of the captains on this team, is there something that you can pinpoint and say, man, this is a part of BC Women's Lacrosse that just goes above and beyond, and it's really attributes to our success?
Yeah, I think it's just like our practice block is 1 to 4, 1 to 4:30. But I don't think that's when lacrosse ends. I think that's just the time that we get physically in our calendar. But I think something about this team, especially this year, is people leave practice and are still talking about one play that happened. Like, hey, how can we be better on that? Or sending each other clips of practice, just practice, not even in the games. Or like we're playing an opponent and someone's like, hey, I watched this random game 3 years ago where this girl did this against them. Like, I think we can try this. So I think just the hunger and the passion for the game that this team has, knowing what our goals are, just really sticks out to me this year. And it's something special and something that I'm so lucky to be a part of. And it pushes me to get on my huddle and learn some and send some clips and then talk about it and text about it and maybe get lunch and talk about, hey, what do you think about this 2-man? Which is just so simple, but it's definitely makes it a lot of fun to be a student of the game.
Oh, I love that. And plus, congratulations, because getting a captainship in college is honestly such an honor and not even an easy feat. So that's a big one that you should be plenty proud of. But I kind of see that you've had to face some adversity when it comes to overcoming injuries in your career. Is there anything from that journey that you pull into being a captain or that you use to voice for your team to keep their head in things? Or as you mentioned, lacrosse doesn't just end with practice, it's in all other aspects. So does your personal journey pull through in your way of leading the team?
Yeah, I think it definitely does. I think just the way that I've had to learn how to lead when I was injured or just be a part of the team is different than it was how I would expect it to be. It's a different type of leadership when you're on the field and you have the ball at the end of the game. You're like, hey guys, give me the ball. I'm going to do this for our team and I'm going to help lead the offense into that. Where a different leadership where you have to stay on the sideline. You're like, how do I lead? How do I help the team? Like, how do I make an impact? So I definitely learned a lot about myself and how to still be a leader and still be a part of the team being injured. And I think something that really got me through just all the injuries. I've had 4 knee surgeries, so definitely wouldn't say I'm a rookie. I would have this phrase, roads change, but goals don't. And I think that can apply to anything in life, whether, we might have a tough game this season that might veer us off. We might not stick to our game plan the way we need to, but that's not changing our goals. And you might have a tough practice. That's not changing your goals. So I think, or you might be injured and you're like, man, like I really wish I was that starter, but I got injured. That doesn't change your goals. It just puts a little veer in your path. So I think just embodying that every single day when we do face hard times, because we know it's inevitable in sports, that just kind of facing it head on and still keeping our eyes on what's the most important thing.
Mallory, when you're on that sideline, right, and you can't play and you have multiple seasons, right, stringing along of just wanting to get out there, how do you stay keen and still lock in at practice and really learn, right? You don't want to get worse while you're out. You actually want to get better, even if it's from a mental standpoint. So just maybe for some younger athletes or athletes who are going through an injury season of their life, what advice would you give them to not let that time on the sideline be wasted?
Yeah, that was definitely a statement that you would always say to me, Annabelle, and something that I really caught on to is that you can't let, no matter if you're hurt or if you're just not playing, go to waste, because you never know, and you don't want that time for when your coach calls on you or you get cleared for you to be like, oh man, I wish I worked on my stick, or oh man, I wish I knew the offense, or oh man, I wish I knew how to read a defense, because your time's going to pass you. So just like putting money in the bank, you need to put money in the bank throughout the time. So then when you need to reach into your bank, when you need to be like, hey, I need to hopefully put bricks to build that house, it needs to be firm and it needs to be strong. So you're confident, and you are prepared. So I definitely think that just staying ready, I would always think of myself as a sponge. Our coaches have just amazing things to say and small little coaching tips here and there. They would be saying to one person, I would jog over. I couldn't even practice, didn't even have a stick. I would jog over, listen to what they'd say, and be like, okay, mental note, Or if I couldn't be in that huddle, I'd think to myself, what what could they possibly be saying right now, like based on that play? So almost a little fun game that I had for myself, but yeah, definitely just not letting the time go to waste and being ready, because when your time does get called, if you're not hurt or if you are hurt, like, and you get cleared, you want to be ready to go.
I love that. Sharpening the mental tool is probably underrated, or you don't realize how much you have to focus on it until you have adversity, whether it's an injury, whether it's a tough season, or whether it's kind of those losing streaks that all of us try to avoid in life or on the field. Now, you also kind of touched on the fact, and I brought this up once already, BC being strong offensively as well as defensively, but what's probably something else special or strong about this team that maybe not only the ACC has to worry about, but women's lacrosse as a whole?
Yeah, I think we joke on our team after someone does a cool thing in practice, like, thank goodness you're on my team. And I think it doesn't matter if it's the star player that's doing the cool thing in the game or practice, or if it's a girl that's on scout team that just did a 360 spin move and you're like, where did that come from? Like, I think from top to bottom, this team is so skilled, and just the amount of heart that we have for the game, but not only for the game, but for one another. That's what kind of separates us, I think, from other competitors. We talk about how other teams can have a game plan. Other teams can even execute that game plan. But we want to say, by the end of the day, nobody can do it the way that we can do it here at Boston College, with the intensity and the work and the heart that we have for the love of the game. So I think in the goals that we have. So I just think that sets us apart, and something that I'm just so lucky to be a part of and pushes me every day.
That's awesome. And you have so many superstars truly on this team, from Shea Dolce in the back, Shea Baker defending her, Emma Lapinto, McKenna Davis, Rachel Clark. Like, we could go on. We could name the whole team. But who are maybe some names on this Boston College women's lacrosse team besides yours? Obviously, I would love to shout you out. You're an incredible athlete and player. But who are some names on this Boston College women's lacrosse team that might not be on the watch list and might not be, on the Instagram when you're scrolling and you're seeing the highlights, but are really making an impact on this team?
Yeah, I mean, there's so many behind the scenes girls that, like you said, don't get the credit that they deserve. But I think internally on our team, they do get the credit, and maybe not enough, but they do. And our team does a good job of shouting those people out, whether it's in the meeting after, like, hey, you were so good in practice that when I got to the game, that girl wasn't hard to guard because you were so good. So I think just a person like Elizabeth Kirk, she's my roommate, but I'm biased. But she's been grinding for 4 years, a strong midfielder, and just got, like, there's been some injuries this week, and she got called up to play in this last game and did amazing. Did her job, didn't let the time pass her, and when she was on the sideline, and just was totally prepared. Brooke McCoy, just a baller, attacker. The list goes on and on. Abby Harrod's our draw girl, and she's just been grinding the last couple years and really shining right now. So, yeah, I think everyone on our team is just so special, and it's true that it takes a village. It's not just one person or a couple people that win a game. It's everyone.
Sounds like y'all have that depth, which is so scary. So I have to know, I don't think I asked this beforehand. Which team coming up next or in the near future do you guys have circled on the calendar? Like, who do you have your eyes on that everybody needs to know? It's time to watch BC, and who?
Oh, well, our next game is Tuesday versus Dartmouth. So we're one game at a time. So that's a big challenge for us. But,
that was a test. Yeah. Casey was just testing you, and you passed. Acacia called her. She said, Casey, I need you to ask Mallory this. That's good. Well, Mallory, just because that is the first home game that's outside this season, and it will be on Newton campus, not Alumni Stadium, where you guys will play the rest of your home games this year. What is special about Newton campus, and why should fans head to Newton campus to go watch you guys play this week?
Oh, my goodness. Newton campus is something that you'll never experience. It's the best place ever, aside from alumni. I'm biased, but it's the best. I mean, it's where our season in the fall started. It's where we had our first practice, and it's where you grow up. All these girls that we grew up watching, Sam Apuzzo, Dempsey Arsenal, Kenzie Kent, playing there, and now to be able to put the uniform on and do the same thing, it's surreal, and it's an unforgettable experience, and it's going to be a fun game, and our team's looking to put on a show for all the fans that can come out. So be there 3:30, cheering loud, maybe wear a hat, but it's going to be fun.
That's so good. And Mallory, do you have a favorite memory just from either being a fan at Newton campus? Because I know you would go during high school and, leave things early just to get to these lacrosse games at Newton campus during Boston College lacrosse season. Do you have a favorite memory as a fan or maybe as a player from being on that field?
Yeah, I mean, I think I've had so many memories. You were there. Like, one of our first ever BC lacrosse camps was at Newton campus, and just a cool cool experience to be back there. You're what, 8th grade, and then now you get to suit up as a senior and play there. It's a lot of fun and definitely full circle moment. But I think just watching all the old BC alums who we all still look up to playing at Newton, and when we usually play tournament play at Newton campus, so getting the game in first to break it in, hopefully, we're all excited for.
Good. Well, break it in, and happy spring break. I know most of the students are off on their spring break, but you're at school just doing all lacrosse. So it's all good things you get to do just lacrosse. But Mallory, thank you so much for taking the time out of your crazy busy schedule and sharing just about your season, about the team. And we are so excited to cheer on the maroon, gold, and the neon. And as I was telling Casey earlier about all the fun things with BC Lacrosse. So thank you so much. We love you, and have a great rest of your day.
Thanks for having me. This was definitely a bucket list.